Hello friends, it's been a while since I posted on Flight Simulator 2020 and I'm using this term taking control, which means you're going to fly the Airbus 320 Neo fully manually. You are not going to use autopilot, but you will use the assistance of the ILS and the VOR connected with Victor Oscar Mike Mike. So I keyed in from Victor Oscar Mike Mike, and I also select destination as VOR. So that will also be runway 25. So it would have populated. Now what we do is we get into flying. Hope you enjoyed this video. Now having got into the flight deck, we need to make a few things here. First is to turn on LS, which will give you the parameters here, and we turn the knob here to also LS as well. And now if you go into your FMC and you see the flight plan, it will have already loaded from and destination. First thing you do is click on from and say departure. We're going to depart from 25, click on that and do insert. On the destination side, you click arrival 25, insert. Now it would have populated the FMC with the route which you are supposed to fly for 25. We are not going to do this when we entered these values for a certain reason. Now if you go to radio and nav, you would have seen that ILS and frequency are already captured into the FMC, and the final course heading is 250. What it didn't do is the VOR that we are going to use. We are going to use Mike Mike Victor, the VOR for runway 25 and runway 27, and the frequency is 112.5, and we enter it in VOR 2. Now if you go into the cockpit and turn on VOR 2, you will see the VOR is just about 5 to 6 degrees to the right of the center line of runway 25. Now we are also going to keep a target height of 2000, so which we'll set here just as a guide. We are not going to use autopilot, so we're going to just show your tape here will show when you are going to reach 2000. As far as speeds are concerned, you will maintain it manually. The other thing you need to check now is you have the ILS frequency and how far it is in the sense DME, and it is ILS DME, and this is Mike Mike Victor, which is the VOR, and it shows the VOR DME. So both are different. This is ILS DME is the distance, slant distance of the aircraft when it's approaching the runway, and this is the VOR DME. Now having done that, we will set up the actual setup for the for takeoff. We set it to flaps 1. Your power is set to idle. Release parking brakes. We are going to climb to 2000 feet, and downwind we will descend to 1800 feet. So let me switch over to I've set up a couple of views for the cockpit, which helps me to fly decently. After I have set up the thing, I can hit the space bar to push up my seat up. Now we will open power and set it to climb, and you'll hear a click when you open your power. Okay, so let's start going. So we open power. There we have the click. It's set for climb power. Use your rudder pedals to keep the aircraft in the center and taxi. 100 knots. V1, rotate. Climb gently. A steep climb, you might land up with the tail hit. Positive rate of climb is gear is up. I'm moving on to my next screen so you have an idea. We are slowly coming towards speed limit. So retract flaps, stick forward slowly and reduce power. For 1,600 feet, climb, 240 knots. We want to come to about 200 knots. And there. (1,700 feet). And we have a wind from 27302 knots. 1,820 feet, 200 knots, open power, stabilize yourself. We're going to do a 20-degree turn to the reciprocal heading of 070. So 20 bank, maintain a 20-degree bank, and come to the heading of 070. You can also watch it here of 070, so you have both happening. Now you see the glide slope diamond is already visible, but yet now we're reaching 2,000 feet. So the whole thing is you need to keep track of all those things that are happening and what you set. So 2,000 feet, you ready to 25-degree bank, reduce bank to 20, maintain that. So we're maintaining about 190 knots, open a little power, stick forward a little bit, maintain. So we have 140, we are maintaining 190 knots, speed climbing, reduce power, maintain. 25 bank, reduce bank to 20. You make mistakes, you correct them immediately. If you leave them to accumulate, you land up with bigger errors too. Now we are at 090, 15 degrees before you're reaching 070, roll out of the turn. The aircraft will tend to climb, maintain 080. Now we have 070. Level wings and maintain 2,000 feet, reduce power to 190 knots. Now this is tracking your VOR. So when you're coming up beam with the VOR, meaning this will come at a 90 degree from your headache, it will be 90 degrees here. Then you should take your first flap. It will also climb up to 100 feet. So stick forward a little bit and reduce that. Don't stick too much. It's quite if you see here that you have a thing called VFA, these are speeds for flap extension speeds. So if you are 230 or above, you cannot take flaps. So your first flap can be taken below 230 knots. So we have to make sure that of that we do, otherwise the aircraft will cut out over speed. So there we are. We are now coming close to the 90 degree mark, 190 degrees, 90 degrees. We're climbing again 2,200, reduce altitude to 2,000 feet. So when you descend, automatically your airspeed will also increase. So there we cross the threshold of the VOR, so we take flap 1. Flap 1 initiated, it will climb, stick forward, maintain VSI 0. To 2200, we need to reduce, stick forward and reduce a little power. 300 to 400 feet is good enough because we have and we are going to do our first turn into base leg when it's 10 DME. Okay? Now you also have this, the glide slope diamond also show up. It will show up as soon as you cross the threshold of the runway. Reduce power, we've got 200 knots, we need to get down to 180 knots. We're coming down to 2000 feet. We are 3.9 DME, ILS DME and 5.1 VOR DME. So reduce power, maintain 071, 1900, stick back, maintain. Now you are 1800 feet. Check your VFE speeds, it's 215 knots. So we are good enough to take to the flap 2. So what we do is we wait for the glide slope needle to come to the center and engage flaps, flap 2. 170 knots, I will add a little power, 170 knots, now we're going to take flap 2. Flap 2 initialized, aircraft will pitch up, use it to your advantage to get to 2000 feet. 160 knot, open power. We are 6.6 ILS DME, so keep watching that. The moment you pattern all the speeds, your heading, your localizer, your glide slope, continuously pattern that and monitor the instruments, you'll be good to fly. Now we're just about 2000 feet and we are about 180 knots, which is very comfortable. 7.8 ILS DME, 2 DME to go. We're going to do a turn 90 degrees to the left, which means we'll come to 340 and then capture the localizer. 180 knots, good. Your third flap can be taken when it is 185 knots. So we reduce a little more power. 9.5 DME, ILS DME. You're getting ready for the next left turn. Idea is you stay ahead of the aircraft. 10 DME, begin your turn. This time we do a 25-degree bank. The aircraft is likely to pitch down, slight back pressure to keep stick forward, maintain 25-degree bank. We're going to stop at 340, 160 knots, so increase a little power. 2,100 feet, reduce the pitch. 250. There we have 360. Begin your turn, roll out of the turn, and stop at 340. There we go, 340. And you're climbing this end at about 300, 400 feet. Little to the right to get to 340. Now this is the very interesting part. This is showing 080 radian. Now when you're halfway through that, begin your turn with 25-degree bank and wait for ILS movement. 180 knots, reduce power. Bank more. There ILS is live, turn more. 30 bank. Doesn't matter if you miss the ILS, you'll still be able to capture it. Rotate out, slowly roll out. and hold 245 heading so you get your ILS back in place. Now 2000 feet, descend a little bit, there your localizer is coming back, turn, center localizer, there. You captured localizer, glide slope is still above 170 knots, reduce power, flap 3. Stick back there. The glide slope is moving down. The localizer is slid to the left. Minor corrections to bring or capture the localizer. That's good enough. $150 knots, good. Flap 3. We are 6 DME, full flaps, capture localizer again. Glide slope to center, descend at 800 feet per minute. Now I'll take you back to the view for approach so you'll have a visual. So follow the glide slope. Minor corrections when you're doing your finals. Localizer is a little to the left, make corrections. Level wings. Easier way when you're looking outside is to make sure that your horizon is in a straight line so you know your wings are level. Glide slope going down, localizer centered, make corrections, level. Glide slope still down, 150 knots. 1000. Gear down. Glide slope climbing. Climb up it. Your speed will drop. So add a little power. First stick. A little to the right, correct yourself. There the glide slope is back at center. Glide slope dropping. A little. There we are. A little to the left. Level. And turn a little to the right. Always look at the end of the runway before touchdown. So that's the center. Looks good. At the threshold of the runway, if you're 50 feet, 100. You will be perfectly all right. 60, hold the runway close 50, power.
40, 30, 20, retard.
Speed brakes. Reverse thrust. Manual braking. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of music as well there. So see you next time. Thank you.